group of UFO believers says it's time for the government to take the wraps off over 40 years worth of data and documents and come clean on what it knows about UFO sightings, including one in 1947 after a crash in New Mexico in which several alien bodies reportedly were recovered. Years ago, the government began keeping records on unidentified flying objects. Most were written off to optical illusions or explainable phenomena. Others were never explained at all. One thing's for sure, whether you're a believer or not, there are plenty of folks out there who know what they saw.
I saw it, and I was dazzled by it, absolutely dazzled by the beauty, by the absolute beauty of it.
Connie Cook of Peoria, Illinois, told CBS News in 1990 that she saw over 100 UFOs over a period of 9 years. She became a magnet for other UFO believers across the country.
I've seen it. I know what I've seen. I'm a believer in it.
Hobbs Wilson was one of dozens of people in the town of Elmwood, Illinois, who said they'd seen UFOs, making Elmwood kind of the UFO capital of the nation. We've all seen the pictures, real or imagined, of things in the sky. This is one of the more celebrated recent sightings, captured by someone pointing a home video camera over the Sea of Japan on July 7, 1989.
Man, they joined together, now they're sort of apart.
And this taken by another amateur photographer in January 1992 near Scranton, Pennsylvania. The blinking lights are the UFOs in question. Usually they come and go so fast there's no way to independently analyze them. Actual in-person contacts are rare, but there are people who swear to those too.
Some of them have even been to our home. And the day that the one came into the yard, which I filmed on the camera, there were 3 inside the ship.
Ultimately, it may be our exploration of space that will once and for all confirm the existence of life elsewhere. There is already some disputed evidence, as Dan Rather reported on the CBS Easy News on February 1st, 1985.
Now get a load of this one. The real Martian Chronicles. Photographs beamed back to Earth by the 1976 Viking Mars probe. Some scientists and buffs today insisted this is a photo showing intentionally built pyramids and what looks like, they say, a sculpted monkey face, a mile long. NASA scientists contacted say, yes, anything is possible, but that it's most improbable that these photographs show Mars is the planet of the apes, dead or alive, a civilized planet, past or present, or even that E.T. phoned home.
Among the believers who will be taking a message to the White House next week is South Georgia farmer Ed Komarek, who is founder of a group called Operation Right to Know. He joins us this morning from affiliate WCTV in Tallahassee. Mr. Komarek, thank you for coming in. Why do you think it is that President Clinton is any more inclined to release government UFO secrets if Jimmy Carter, who actually filed his own UFO sighting report, chose not to do so?
Well, President Clinton probably isn't any more inclined unless time, is on our side. Essentially, what we feel we have to do is we have to build a political movement and an organization in order to build a constituency where President Clinton will be willing to come out with the truth. The same way with Congress people. People in Congress aren't going to come out unless they have a constituency to back them up. As soon as they get slammed in the media once or twice, they can ruin their reputation and they would be kicked out of office. So essentially we've got to build a movement here, and just like the civil rights movement, it doesn't begin all of a sudden. It builds a little bit at a time. The civil rights movement, if I understand correctly, began when a lady refused to go to the back of a bus, and a small demonstration developed, and it built from there. So essentially the same thing is happening with this movement. Mike Jameson and I decided in March of last year to hold a demonstration in Washington, and both of us came to Washington and began demonstrating, and more people became involved, and now we have an organization and an editor and a newsletter and
I understand you've gotten the letter back from the White House. What did it say?
Basically, we get a lot of letters back, as individuals and whatever. It's just a basic form letter thanking us for writing them.
I understand there were several UFO sightings in Arkansas when Mr. Clinton was governor there. Presumably, he knows about them.
Yes, there's sightings in Arkansas. There's sightings everywhere. I figure here, even in my area, once you break down the wall of denial and ridicule and you get people talking, you find that this sort of thing is going on everywhere. And probably even in this area, in my local area here, within 30 miles, there's probably a sighting every week.
Briefly, why is it you think the government is reluctant to open these records?
It's a complex story because it goes back to 1947 when we believe a saucer crashed in New Mexico in July. And the first problems that they had was we felt that they didn't want this information to get this data on this technology to get out to major powers worldwide. Then there was a problem with panic at the time. UFO UFOs were even flying over Washington, D.C. in the early 50s. It was all through the newspapers there. And then eventually the cover-up evolved. The reasoning behind it, I think, evolved that they were concerned about social disruption. And then, to this day, it's probably more, there's a lot of special interests that would have a lot to lose if this information came out.
You suggest that even religion might be called into question.
That's true. Religion, politics, economics, science, everything would be impacted. There would be a tremendous amount of culture shock, and that may actually be happening to us to a certain degree. Our world leaders have tried to separate us from the rest of the universe, just like the Soviets tried to separate their people from the rest of the world, and we see what's happened to them.
And in the half minute we have left, what's the upside of releasing this evidence of extraterrestrial life?
The best thing is that a tremendous amount of information it has been released already, and when this information gets out, I think it's going to really help our spiritual evolution. But to begin with, the problem is going to be a lot of social disruption before that happens, but it's better to get it all out now and sort things out than to continue the cover-up and with the continued undermining of the public's trust in government.
Thanks a lot for coming in this morning. Farmer Ed Komarek coming to us from Tallahassee.